Hey guys, this is Resonant, and I wanted to, or you guys wanted me to go over my song "Sorry," which was my first single for the album, and just wanted to show you guys what makes it special, share stories about how it was made, and this is one of my favorite songs that I've written. That and um, "I Wanna Be" are probably like the two songs that I'm most proud of from this album specifically. So let's just get into the project and see how things are. Um, apologies. Um, I think this song really started with the acoustic guitar. That starts the song out. This one. This song is naturally just a very bittersweet song about it's not about me specifically, but I think it's just a story about a man that like the relationship didn't work out and he made a lot of promises, and he thought that they were gonna conquer the world, that they're going to be this great thing, and they're gonna build things together, that they're gonna be together forever. And it didn't work out that way. He made mistakes, she made mistakes, and the whole thing fell apart. And it's him just reminiscing about their time together, and him being regretful that the way he wanted it to happen, and the thing he regrets that he couldn't give her the thing that she deserved, and all the joy that she deserved to have, and instead it was heartbreak. So this song is naturally just a very bittersweet song, and I wanted it to start off with the ambient noises and a guitar that does not have a lot of low end or flashiness, but it feels very lonely and very in its own world. And it just puts you in this mindset where you kind of subconsciously feel what they're feeling already. It puts you in this subdued mood. And then when the electric guitars come in, it's really just like a show of the emotions of heartbreak, where you'll have these moments of extreme sadness and loneliness and regret and shame. And then you'll have these moments where you forget about what happened, and you're happy and you're enjoying your life and everything's clicking. And then you'll have these moments where it dips back down into heartbreak and sadness and regret. And I wanted that to be put in or reflected in the crescendos of the song. It starts out very sad. The vocals come in, they're very lonely, very spacey and reverby, but they're in your face and like right in your ear. And then the electric guitars come in, and everything's happy, everything's excited and moving and fun. And in that way, it shows how you forget all of your sadness and your heartbreak, and then you dip back down, and then you go back up, and you dip back down. And I just want the moods of heartbreak to be shown, but it all starts with these two. And I got into like Olivia Rodrigo a lot over the making of this deluxe version. So I think I really tried to expand my horizons into a little bit of like pop punk rock in a way, but with a very like acoustic folk kind of leaning, where everything's very raw and very free, but you still have like the punchy drums, the huge walls of guitars, and the synth bass that kind of just moves around. Like this synth bass, I'm very proud of when all of the electric guitars come in. So it just adds a bunch of like punchiness. But it all starts out with the acoustic guitar, and then this comes in. I call it the sparkle. Yeah, it's a little bit of sweetness. I feel like the acoustic guitar is like gloomy and lonely and drowsy and sad and uninspired, and then the little like synth sparkle thingy comes in, and that one's kind of lively and sweet and inviting. So I feel like it kind of contrasts the two to a point where you feel this push and this pull between emotion subconsciously as you listen to the track. Um, and for acoustic guitars, it was pretty plain, just clean up EQ, compressor dynamics, and then a secondary EQ, and then a lot of like space reverb and some chorus. Same thing for this. I think just this one. This one just has some like distortion, reverb and stuff. Moving on to like the drums and what we got here is pretty simple. I don't have any like percussion except for um except for the tambourine that comes in the drum kit. And I wanted to go with a very vintage style drum kit. Um, like if you hear like late '80s, like '90s music, they didn't have control over like the brightness of the hi hats and stuff like that. So the hi hats kind of took over the mix, and they're very like shiny and loud. And that's just like how things were back then, because you didn't have like one channel for each thing just like going down. So I wanted the hi hats and like the cymbals to be very like washy and loud in the mix, because I just wanted to go for that more vintage style. And then I separated the kick and the snare because as you know, if you guys watch the I Wanna Be breakdown, I put this distortion on the hi hats, cymbals, and the snare, and you can hear it here. It just puts more punch, brightness, and like crunchiness on that, because I like to do that on some like the hi-fi stuff like on the drums, just because it adds a new layer, and then under that you just have the basic kick. And I like a kick with a lot of like highs and mids. If you look at this, highs and mids, and then just take out all of the stuff that's just gonna make it muffled, and then bring out all that stuff. And I just like it because, well, first of all, I EQ the kick and the snare, even though they're on different tracks, the exact same, and I put them at the same volume because I want them to feel like they're cohesive drum kit, but at the same time one of them is just processed differently with the distortion. And then I put them into a track stack, and there I put a tube compressor for some saturation, and then a compressor, or tube EQ and then compressor, and then a little bit of just like room, just so that they feel a little bit bigger. And this is what that sounds like. Yeah, just not a lot of room, but enough to feel like it's a little bit spacey. And then my main VST bass for the album is this right here, which is the crunchy pop preset, and then I just put a channel EQ at the bottom, and just put in a bunch of like highs, or not highs. I put in a bunch of mids and a bunch of bass, just so that it's bassy and you can hear like this the pick. So here before and then after the EQ. It just cleans it up. I don't want anything perfect or anything that feels like it's a DI bass, but I do, especially for this instance where I wanted it to be more of a VST, just going for that natural pop sound. But I was going for something that felt a little bit deeper, muffled, and then I put in some mids and stuff, of course. And then now for the largest part of the track, all of the electric guitars. And then just going down the list, this is the main electric guitar in the song. And then for that, just the basic acoustic guitar setup with just a little bit more reverb. And I think for the electric guitars, I was going for like a hi-fi like pop sound with the electrics with some rock touch. I'm putting in just like some naturally distorted guitars. And then I put this under that to add some like rhythm. And I like that hard cut out of that, because if you're going for that like emotional high of like all of the instruments coming in at once, then you also want that emotional low of when everything comes out and you're back in that sadness, but with a little bit of a punch because I add the drums. Yeah, so you just want that space. And then going to the bridge, this is the big one. And I think for the bridge, I'll just show you like all of the electric guitars and just stack them up one by one as I'm going. My unofficial guitar solo for this song is this one right here. That comes in just to add that emotional lift before everything falls apart. And I put these fade in so it would feel like it's fading in and it's fading out, it's fading in, it's fading out. And it would just add that little bit of wonder. it also fills in that pocket of like the high end really nicely and just fits in its spot really nice and kind of just fills out the whole sound. I wasn't going for like a massive bridge. I was going for a lot of just rhythms and different things that could work together to feel like you could dance to it and everything. And then the emotional high comes back down for the final part. And one thing that really helped in the mixing was turning this down at the beginning of the song and then turning this up at the end, and having those ambient noises at the end really just adds that push of emotion that I wanted to really fill out this song. And that's basically it. I mean, that's really fast, but there's not a lot to like talk about on this song. But I would like to listen to this song all the way through and then show you guys a breakdown for another song that I really like from this deluxe.
Wish we could do it again. Hanging out with our old friends. I feel lost with you alone. No one prepares you for this place of hell. Moments passing, times are through. Doesn't mean I didn't love you. Sorry I didn't give you the world. I promise I thought of you. Never got to see the world. Like I promised you we would. When I get onto that plane, I hope that you'll still wait for me.
Oh yeah, so that's basically the song. I don't want to take you through the whole. What is it, like 6.5 minutes? No, that's too painful. Um, I'll show you guys the vocal processing really quick, then show you guys another song. For this one, I did my basic vocal chain. I think one thing that did change was on the track stack processing. I did a clip distortion. Usually I did 5 to 6 dB of drive, and then usually I do the mix to about 50 to 60, sometimes 45, just depending on where I am, but I put it at 5 because I didn't want it to be super noticeable. And then usually the gain is automatically at 5. I put it down to 2. And then without the clip and the width is a big difference.
Hanging out with our old friends.
It just puts that little bit of saturation that you need. And then other than that, I like to put a bunch of reverb and a bunch of echo, and everything's about the same. 6% mix, 7% drive. All of this is just like saturation and basic stuff. Let me see if I can pull up Sorry Today. Is that the one? Yep, this is it. Okay, let me show you this one. This one's my favorite. Well, my third favorite off the album. This one is Time Is Waiting. And this one I took inspiration from Bon Iver's For Emma, the actual title track, not just the whole album, the title track. With all the flute, with all my decisions on putting in the flutes, the trumpet, all of that is from his decisions. And then I put in some Noah Khan with the banjo, the mandolin, all of the big guitars, the big drums, all that. And then all of the vocal stacking was based off of what Noah Khan does. Like, let me show you this vocal stacking, which I did yesterday, before I released this whole album. Let me show you this. This is really cool. This is the best vocal stacking I've ever done.
Time's waiting on you to wake up. They won't do it for you anymore.
And then with the track.
They won't do
And I also very much practiced a lot of panning on everything, and especially on the vocals, doing left, right. I don't like harmonies panning. I want them to be dead center. But like you can hear the harmonies on this. You have the main vocal that just does this,
anymore,
and then you have the doubles doing the same thing,
anymore,
and then the harmonies are doing these.
anymore,
The harmonies. One harmony is this,
anymore,
which I'm just doing anymore, like that. And then you have this one,
anymore,
and that one's just a low double, anymore, anymore, something like that. Um, and then together it just makes a beautiful sound. And then you have this one.
You wanna know something, but never ask the question.
For this one, the harmony is this.
But never ask the question.
And then interacting with the lead.
But never ask the question.
And for these, I don't want them super loud. What I want is for them to support the main vocal, which is something I learned from Phineas and Billie Eilish on their production. They just have these supporting them. They're not super loud. They're in the back, but they just support.
But never ask the question.
You know, and the lead vocal is always dead center, and then another double here.
I'm tired of waiting for you here. Wake up.
I like this because I think I said wake up, and I just yelled it into my mic.
Wake up.
But what's cool is that I timed it so well that I was able to do it right as the kick hits here, and I can show you that. But it's like wake up, like that is really cool.
Wake up.
Which for me just adds a lot. And then for the mandolin here, I wanted it to be like pulsating, like, and I put it only 40, so it's like right in the ear, like right here, and hear it interacting with the acoustic and then the mandolin. You can hear it. And then I put those faders in there just so that, again, just like in Sorry, I wanted to kind of pulsate in and out. And then I have this guitar pad that's going throughout the entire song, starting with this line right here. And it's just doing some like simple rhythmic stuff.
You wanna know something, but never ask the question. I'm tired of waiting for you here. Wake up.
You can see how when I mute it, like it's not super loud. Look at that. That's 25.5, something like that. Either way, it's released, so I'm not gonna worry about volume anymore. But you can see how it just fills that space up, and that's why I wanted just a little bit of sparkle and pad in there. But I didn't want like just to put like a lifeless pad. I wanted something that had some motion and some life, so I just looped this, and then you have the mandolin, and then all of that stuff, and then I went to town with all of the doubling here.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
And you really want to hear the impact of what these doubles are doing when you hear it in context with the song. So let's show you that.
Trying to think, but the blood rushes on. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Where's something I really like? This is something I just came up with on the spot. When I was doing this, I was like, is there something I could do like in the ad-lib section that kind of like fills it out? And I was just like I looped it for a while. I was like, hey, so I put that in, and it just plays so nicely in the song. Alone. It sounds ridiculous alone with like nothing on it. Let's hear it. You can tell how crappy my microphone is when you when you hear all this stuff without processing. But you listen to it, and again, none of these doubles are super noticeable. Like the ad-libs are at 25 dB, yeah. So it's not super noticeable, but it just adds that energy in the context.
Time is waiting for you to get on side.
I think yesterday I was supposed to just mix and master this song and then have it be done. And what really started like doing all the doubles and the harmonies was when I was listening to this section, and it was like, time is waiting for you to get on your side. And then I heard something in my head. It said, the side, or your side. And I was like, ooh, that's a good ad-lib to put in there as something. And obviously I don't tune my ad-libs or anything, and they're always off tune somehow. But I just wanted something that was a little bit evocative of some sort of emotion that kind of just like got you going. And I mean, it kind of just like adds this like energy and emotion inside of me whenever I hear it, at least.
Time is waiting for you to get on side. For you to finally realize.
And then after that, once I did the side, then I was like, ooh, okay. So, and then I added doubles here and doubles here. And then I added some doubles here on the last part. And then I added some ad-libs and stuff like that. And then I went here and I doubled these parts, and I put like a big double at the end and harmonies. And then I went back through the song and I just put doubles everywhere. Everywhere I thought there should be a double or an ad-lib or something, I just threw it in. And now it ended up being this whole thing. You know, every and another thing that I learned from Gabe Simon, who is Noah Kahan's like main producer on both Stick Season and The Great Divide, he said that first of all, do a different voicing in your microphone whenever you do doubles so that feels differentiated. And I used the same mic that I always do, but one thing that I did was I was farther away from the mic so that everything felt a little bit lighter and less saturated. and less full bodied, and I didn't time or tune any of these vocals like I did the lead vocal. So and that's one thing that I did with Noah Khan on his on Stick Season. And I wanted everything to be loose and everything to be like spur of the moment and feel like it just added that emotion just based off of that. And one thing that I'm really proud of from this song is the woodwind section. And I found this flute sample um in the loops, and I just thought that this fits so well with the song because you have the acoustic guitar going, and then you have this flute, and it's just fits so well in the song to add this like melodic part. Here's this dry. And I wanted it to sound like it was a cross between a trumpet, a flute, and a whistle. And I was like, well, how am I going to do that? Like, that's the right move. For me, like creatively, I feel like that's the right move. So what I did is I added a bunch of reverb to make it sound like a whistle, a lot of reverb, and a lot of high end right here, because this is where all of the breath and all of the high end body is going to come from, are these 4,000, 6,000 ranges. And then I added a clip distortion and chroma glow to make it sound like deep and distorted like a trumpet, and it sounded like this. See, now you can't tell what it sounds like. And then in context with the main acoustic guitar, it sounds like this. And that just adds so much. I mean, it really sets the vibe of the song like right away. And I love that. I mean, every time I hear it, put a smile on my face. It makes me feel good. And then for the acoustic guitar, again, same processing chain. But the main thing that I did with the acoustic that's different is I put a fade in right here, and because I wanted it to sound like it was kind of like breaking down, I guess. That little, I wanted it to sound a little bit broken in that way. And then obviously I didn't loop it. I just picked this section and then I just pasted it over because I didn't want that crossfade to copy over to like every single time it changed. So you have that, and then basically everything else is the same. And then I found this banjo that felt like it fit in with all of the melodic parts in this song.
Wake up.
And then this mandolin really fits in well with the song too. It just makes it sound very happy-go-lucky in a way. And then you bring in all of the electric guitars. You have obviously the electric guitar pad, and then you have this electric guitar that comes in the bridge. You can clearly hear it in the bridge. I just wanted like a grungy guitar that felt like it just added a little bit of that grit that like the Great Divide has. And then this like little solo thing. And then I added a second pad just to make this, just to fill up any extra space I feel like I left in, and to make this song just feel bigger in the bridge. And that sounds like this.
Yeah.
And then a funny story with the trumpet, which I don't even know if you could tell that's in the song, but a funny story about the trumpet is I had the final mix and master for the song ready to go. I was listening to it, making sure that everything sounded good, nothing was too loud, nothing was too quiet. And then I was like, I feel like I need one more melodic lead, but I don't want to put in a guitar. So I looked up trumpets and I found this little thing right here, and I thought it was the exact missing piece I needed. It just sounded so anthemic and big and triumphant, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because um this whole song is about just waking up to yourself and realizing your faults and realizing that you're not doing anything to be better. You're just sitting around. I think the main like lyric that really tells you what this song means is the lyric that says, "Time is waiting for you to wake up, but you sit on your head, and you try to move on." Or I think the lyric is, "You try to think, but the blood rushes on." You know, because if you're laying on your head, the blood is rushing to your head, and it's hard to think. You get lightheaded. I don't know. Did I write down the lyrics in this? No, I did not. But so it's really just a song about like stop being an idiot and actually do something and wake up, because it's time for you to grow up and be the man you're supposed to be. And I wanted this last verse to feel triumphant and big, because it's like he's finally waking up to himself, and this is the moment where the hero finally starts his hero's journey to being a better man. And I felt like that was it. So let's hear this full bridge and just see how the trumpet just like elevates things to a higher level.
Wake up. Mm. Wake up. Yeah. Time is waiting for you to wake up. But you sit on your head.
This is like the line that like this is the spot where I heard something. Sorry. These are the lyrics that are like the theme of the song. So let's listen to these and just like really feel like the heart of this song.
Time is waiting for you to wake up. You sit on your head. Reflection in your mirror won't change things for you. Time is waiting for you to wake up and turn on your side.
Um, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of comments like, "What does wake up and turn on your side mean?" And for me, I feel like that lyric means um it's waiting for you to show signs of life beyond feeling like, I feel like waking up just feels like you're dead. Feels like you're hopeless. You're hopeless. You're not doing anything. You're dead. And 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 people are waiting for you to show signs that you're still there. You're still here. That you're gonna do something. That you're gonna move. But let me show you this clarinet, which is the last thing, and how it plays with the flute really well. And then, of course, I have this little synth right here. I want the synth just so that I felt like um, it was gravitating more towards my style of music, which is like, you know, in a way tied more towards like Joe music, where I'm gonna bring in all of the live instruments, but then I'm gonna have like the little synths and the little moments where it feels like it grounds back to like modern pop. But that's it.